Welcome to Morning Message for December the 12th. My grandfather was named Joseph Valentine Clark. The reason he was named Valentine is because he was born on Valentine's Day, and he became known as a young boy as Joe V, and that eventually turned into Jofi, and everybody knew who Jofi was. I even had a teacher in elementary school when I told her, who was from Pugwash, and when I told her my family was from Pugwash and my grandfather was Joseph Clark, she had no idea who that was. And I was kind of dejected about that. I thought everybody would know who he was. So I went back to her at lunchtime and I said, well, do you know Jofi? And of course she knew who Jofi was, had no idea that his name was Joseph Valentine Clark. Anyway, Jofi was in the First World War in France, and he lost his right arm, lost his right arm in France during the First World War. And I guess it was quite an adventure to go driving with him because, of course, the stick shift would be over here, and he'd take his hand off the wheel and shift, and apparently he didn't drive slowly. And back then, none of the roads in Cumberland County would have been paved, so it would have been a lot of potholes, and apparently quite an adventure to go driving with Jofi. He was 72 when I was born, so I don't remember him driving at all. But I guess it was quite an adventure. I remember one time my grandmother poured him a drink of rum. He wanted a drink of rum and water in the evening. And she would not put very much rum into that drink. And the little table was beside him, and he reached over and he knocked the glass, but he caught it before it fell. And he looked at me. I think I said, "Good catch." And he looked at me and he said, "It would have been a terrible waste of water." So there wasn't much rum in his drink of rum in the evening, and he knew that. There was another time they were visiting for Christmas dinner, and Jofi asked for the pepper. And without thinking, I picked up a pepper mill and handed it to him. And he looked at the pepper mill and looked at me and he said, "I'll remember you in my will for that." Of course, as you know, a one-handed person can't operate a pepper mill. And I wasn't mentioned, by the way, in his will, so I guess he did remember me for that occasion in his will. I'm telling a couple of Jofi stories because, well, that one happened at Christmas time. I'm just thinking of Christmas stories, but I also think about how I miss him, you know, and I grieve. Sometimes the loss of Jofi, as do many other people. And this Christmas in 2020 is going to be a Christmas that's filled with grief for a number of reasons. Partly because of the effect that COVID is having around the world, and that's enough to disturb us. But it's also having an effect right here at home. With travel restrictions and gathering restrictions and those sorts of things. And Christmas won't be like it's ever been before. And hopefully it'll be very different and very better in years to come. But this year it's going to be different. It's going to be ridden with grief. You know, and I think for all those reasons that we're just not able to gather in the ways that we hope to. We're not going to be able to see the people we want to see in the same way. We're not going to be able to give hugs and gather in the ways, the office parties, churches, family gatherings, hockey games. You know, Boxing Day for me is always at some point waiting for that Canada-Russia junior hockey game, you know. And I don't know if that's going to happen this year. So lots of things are going to be different. And it's important for us to recognize that and recognize the emotions that will well up in ourselves and recognize the emotions that will well up in those around us as well. And to be gentle with ourselves, to be gentle with one another, and recognize that some of those extreme emotions, some of those mood changes are directly related to the effect that COVID-19 is having on our society right now. And all we can do is be understanding and to be gentle with ourselves and with one another. And that by God's grace, we will be able to get through this difficult time together and healthy and happy and looking forward to next Christmas when we will be able to gather and hug and sing and worship and do all the things that we want to do and expect to do at Christmas time. But for the time being, we have to keep one another safe. We have to support one another in the midst of all this. God bless. Amen.